Hey everybody, it's Pete. Welcome to a new episode of Stocks for Breakfast. Today we're going to discuss how to manage a big list of stocks profitably after the stock market opens. I'm very well known for reading the tape. I'm very big on order flow, and that's great. You go into the day and all of a sudden, especially if you're a day trader, you have this enthusiasm for getting your day started, and then you're like, okay, now what? Everything's all over the place. Stocks are moving really, really fast. And it can be overwhelming, quite honestly, especially if you're a new trader, it can be overwhelming. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of take you behind the scenes into a tiny part of a coaching call. If you're a part of the boot camp, this is what you get every Monday night, and we have a whole archive of lessons like this. So I kind of want to use it to give you structure for understanding, if you're a day trader, what to do after the open. Obviously, there's a lot more to it with timing entries and managing profits and that kind of stuff. But I wanted to show you what happens. We get a lot of questions about, do I see your trades in real time, all of that kind of stuff. Absolutely. So I went on a little bit of a rant this morning about understanding how to have a big list of 20 stocks and then whittle that list down to exactly which stocks you should be watching on the open. So if you find this video helpful, obviously please subscribe to the channel. But if you find the training I'm about to show you, which is from a recent private coaching call, I strongly recommend that you click down and learn about the boot camp and get involved in the boot camp, because it's such a really tiny investment compared to what most of us risk, even on just one trade. And you get 30 days of everything, including the order flow masterclass and these coaching sessions that I'm about to show you. So if you have any questions, definitely leave a comment, definitely subscribe, and then click down to find out more about the boot camp. And just as important, see how other people are doing in the boot camp, because that's really the biggest value that you'll see, is other people succeeding. And I think you'll be pretty surprised. It's exciting. I'll see you in a bit. So the point that I want to make is, and I believe I had mentioned this when I was having that discussion in the afternoon, work hard to find better ideas. So what would a better idea have been at that time? Well, we all know that following the market's a heck of a lot easier than most trades, right? So then you'd literally have your list sorted by change. And then if the market's above the open the entire day, for today, right now, the better road to be on are stocks that are trading with the market. And you could start to see where some better ideas today presented themselves. So what's interesting today too is it's obviously a constant question that I get, and it's an awesome question, which is, how do you watch all those stocks? How do you know which ones to be in? And if you remember today, I posted that image of the stock watch. And let me see if I still have it. I think I do. So throughout the day, just let me know if you could see that. Somebody just type in yes, please. So this is the stock watch that I'm looking at. Obviously, I'm looking at most of the stocks that we're all watching during the day. So I literally have this. So let's, and again, I think this will help clarify for a lot of people. If the market is strong, just using that as an example, without getting too deep into what that means, the market is strong, right? I have change from the open sorted by positive. So none of all this other stuff matters. And I'm not going to get confused by every tick and chick and wiggle and jiggle. If the market's strong, and this is what we have in the SPY, again, just for the conversation that we're having right now, if that's what we're looking at in the market all day after 10 o'clock, I have this thing sorted by change from the open. So I want to know which stocks are strong today. Then if you're really dialing up your trading, you'll have one list that's a watch list for longs, and you'll have one watch list that's shorts. So when the market is strong, you're only looking at your strong watch list. And then so let's just pretend for a second. Let's say the market's strong, and let's say this is my buy watch list coming into the day. Out of all of these stocks, if the market's strong right now, I'm only looking at these two. And that's how you watch a monster list of stocks. And the same thing with the opposite, like we had last Friday. When the market is trading down, and let's just say for argument's sake, you have a big list of stocks like this, whether it's listed as long or short, doesn't matter. Well, it does matter because those are better trades. But let's say for argument's sake, the market's trending down. I have this now sorted by change from the open negative. And then I'm looking for stocks that have selling order flow now that are in sync with the market. So Friday scans, obviously this was lit up to the downside. So what was interesting about this, and here's a really big tip, because somebody actually asked today about indicators and stuff. And we're going to talk about that in a second, such as the VIX and the trend and that kind of stuff. This was the picture I took. I believe it was right around 9:50 this morning, so about 20 minutes into the market. As the market started to unfold, all of a sudden more stocks started populating in the positive from the open column. So without even looking at anything else, nothing, you have zero experience, but which everybody here now has good experience, right? All of a sudden, this list of stocks that are changed from the open, now there's 2 stocks, now there's 3 stocks, now there's 5 stocks, now there's 7 stocks. What does that tell you about what you should be doing? Look for longs. All of a sudden, stocks, I know there's some software that you can actually set when it turns from negative to positive, but this is such a clean way of doing it without staying up the entire weekend trying to figure out how to set the software to do it. It's so simple, everybody. I can't explain it to you, but my job is to explain it to you. What I just discussed to you is how you constantly keep your capital working in the best ideas. So when you, and actually this brings home another point that I know we've discussed quite a bit in the past. You have this big list of stocks, or you have, the scanner working kind of behind the scenes, whether it's bullish or bearish and that kind of thing. You're like, oh my gosh, which ones am I supposed to watch? Well, when you have this as the game plan that you're going into the day with already, and now the market opens and you say it's well, and let's just say for argument's sake, like Ron was looking at some short sales today, he would have been looking the best ideas that would change from the close negative and change from the open negative. Those would be stocks that were following through in the direction of well-offered days, weeks, and months. And then today, we were looking at stocks that were strong and long. So, which really, that was kind of a weird list today. I know Spot was one of them. So this is actually a good example here. Spot, -8 from the close and down 44 cents. So that would not have been a plus trade today because it wasn't. It didn't meet the criteria. At least that's what it looks like at this particular moment of the day. I think it did change after the fact. So it actually did go above the open. So I definitely took that picture like somewhere in this window over here. But anyway, does everybody understand the simplicity of why we're reading the tape and how we're now taking it to another level of now I know how to read my stock watch and I know what to put in my stock watch and I know how to use it after the market opens, which is why I tell everybody you don't need to have 25-minute charts. You're missing the context of the big picture, and it's not necessary because what I just taught you makes it 100 times easier. Yes, Nick, this is actually this is a shot from E-Trade Pro, I think it is. It's the software that you download. It's not from the main login. It's the software that you download. So very, very easy to set up. I know Thinkorswim does the same kind of thing. And I know quite a few people are using E-Trade here as well. So you just have to download the E-Trade Pro thing. And definitely, I can tell you right now, E-Trade Pro takes a little bit of time to set up. So set it up on the weekends or after hours. You don't want to be setting it up at 9:30 because there is a few things to learn that's a little bit differently. But even if you're not going to use it right away, you can definitely set this up pretty quickly. So we have the symbol, last trade, which is basically the price, right? The price right now. Change from the close, change from the open. And then I just added these last 2 columns. You don't really need to add them in there, but percent change from the open and percent change from the close. So change from the open is one thing, but then percent change is where we get the big red or green candlestick. So when you understand how to use the first 2, where you want both of these columns to be on the same page, so all green or all red, like just for example, Apple here, then you also start to look percent change from the open. And from the FinViz scans, we look for plus 2% up or down from the open. You start to get something that's plus 2%, and it's positive with well bid on the candlesticks coming into the day. You start to get some really super powerful trades that line up. John, I'm not 100% sure. I would bet bottom dollar that it's in most good trading platforms. It's just a question of pulling up a watch list. I would bet my bottom dollar that it's in TD Ameritrade. I'd be really, really surprised if it wasn't. Is that screen on a 20-minute delay? No, this just happens to be the time of day that I took the snapshot. And actually, it's interesting. I think a lot of you have noticed I've actually been doing this a few times during the day to really illustrate this point. Yeah, TOS is Thinkorswim. Yep. Thank you, Chris. So anyway, so that's here's what I want to suggest to everybody. When this video is done and we upload it, even before I upload it into the member section, which could take me a little bit of time, I should be able to have this video tonight. I would absolutely go over the section that I just covered with setting up this watch list with change from the open and change from the close, and then use it tomorrow. I'm telling you, it is so powerful. The biggest thing today was when there was just 2 stocks here, and then all of a sudden, 2/3 of the list, if not 75% of it, was changed from the open. When you combine this powerful indicator with this, oh my gosh, you're never sitting in the wrong ideas, because you're like, you know what? I only want to trade stocks that I came into the day saying, okay, really, really good tape here and here. So what do I want to see now? All the stocks that I love on the longer time frame that are well bid on multiple time frames, I'm only going to trade those stocks that are both green from the close and green from the open, because that means today's price action is in sync with the longer term price action. And I had a quick conversation with Karen last week about that same thing, and you'll be amazed at how many good opportunities line up. You'll be surprised. Brian, this is actually E-Trade Pro. Power E-Trade is the one in the actual E-Trade login, where you pull that up from the menu on the top. On the right-hand side is E-Trade Pro. And it might take like 5 minutes to download the software. It's actually a desktop application, but definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Special code for custom watch list. Well, I don't know Thinkorswim, so I can't say at all. But what I would say is most of these softwares, they give you a choice to right-click in there and set up the columns, and then you just choose the column. Again, Chris, I have no idea. Brian, I would be really surprised if Thinkorswim does not have change from the open as one of the choices. I'd be pretty surprised. Okay, so you guys can maybe if you guys can help each other, if you can find it, if it's in there, if it's not in there. Chris F, if you Milton, if you're using Thinkorswim, and I would strongly suggest that you figure a way to get it in there. If everybody can help each other out that's using Thinkorswim, I would really appreciate it. I think that would be awesome if we can help each other out so that we're all using this. So I guess does everybody understand how powerful this is? It's so powerful I can't even explain it, because even if you think about it, when we do our scans, you think about it like, well, part of the scan that we're looking for is 2% from the open. So what we're actually allowing ourselves to do here is we're finding them in real time. That's the beauty of this. And then when you combine that with this, all of a sudden, this big list of 20 stocks, we just sort of at this particular moment, only 2 which positive from the open, and only 1 was both. How powerful is that? So now we're not watching 20, we're watching 1. And we're putting our money to work in what's the best idea right now. I'm telling you, you're going to have such a light bulb moment when this goes off and you're actually seeing it unfolding in real time. Especially today was kind of exciting when this list started to go from 2 to 4 to 6 to 10. I'm like, okay, time to get long and stay long. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. All right, so we're going to pop into, it's a watch list, Frank. I believe most softwares call it the same name, but typically it's called a watch list. It's very similar to what we have over here in TradingView. The only problem with TradingView is they have change and change percentage, but they do not have change from the open, which I'm telling you right now, once you start using it, your mind will melt that when you really start to put the equation together of, okay, setting up good ideas on the monthly, setting up good ideas on the weekly, and then intraday, just allowing this to unfold. It's just amazing. That's why you can just be so less stressed out when you're trading. Like, that's all I'm going to watch.